Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in again to Tea Time with Angels. This is the official podcast of the Peaceful Rain Temple of Empowerment. The Peaceful Rain Temple of Empowerment is currently active on School, which is linked up in the description box of this video. That is the online portion of our community so far. We will have a physical temple on the ground on Earth in Washington State in the near future. My twin flame and I are taking on that project. And yes, thank you so much for tuning into Tea Time with Angels. This is a casual conversation with enlightened and spiritual and mindful and lighthearted guests. Today we have on with us Amanda Motes, who is a psychic, very gifted clairvoyant with many abilities, including astral projection, as well as lucid and psychic dreaming abilities. Today, she'll be talking about the latter and especially a dream phenomenon that the collective has been experiencing called Mallworld. And she will be describing what Mallworld looks like, what it is, and we will be talking about what that could mean for humanity, what that actually implies, that there's possibly an actual dream world that people are visiting. So without further ado, I will let Amanda have the floor. And here goes Tea Time with Angels on Mallworld. Amanda, go ahead and let's dig into Mallworld. Tell us how this got started and what it
Well,
is.
okay. Well, thank you for having me. For me, I heard about it like 2 months ago on TikTok. Someone had said, "Hey, let's map this out." And then I looked it up and I was like, holy cow. Like I had been dreaming about this place, reoccurring dreaming for at least the last 10 years, if not more. And I believe it was also called previously the Backrooms. It was either on Reddit or I've seen it on YouTube. It might have been also referred to the Backrooms. Some people call it like Schoolworld, I guess, Dream World, because it is like a whole world. It's like a city, it's a mall, it's an airport, it's a hotel, there's a mansion, all kinds of things. And so for the last 6 weeks, I just started drawing it out, and the more I drew, the bigger the project grew, and the more I could remember. And then I just started detailing it out. So that's kind of how I came about with Mall World. So I'm still very new to it, but I wasn't in the GATE program. I know that's normally associated with it, that people in the GATE program were like they're the ones streaming Mall World, but I wasn't in the GATE program. I was diagnosed ADHD young, but I did not do that well in school. So, but I do have the dreams of Mall World, and I do dream of some of the tests I've heard them people have reported doing in that program. So that's about it where I am with Mall World so far.
Fascinating. Yeah, I'd love to also talk about the GATE program, but my kind of limited, but some depth and understanding of that. We may need to do another episode just on that.
Yeah.
So, I
Well, I
don't
will
think,
say this something very, I will say, I apologize. I will say this
yeah,
about
go
the
ahead.
GATE program. On Facebook, I had posted in the GATE program Facebook groups if anybody had experienced a phenomenon called street light interference, where electricity acts wonky around you, lights can flicker, your batteries can drain quicker, the Wi-Fi might glitch, your devices could freeze. And especially if you're upset or irritated or frustrated. And a lot of people that were in those groups that were in the GATE program had also experienced this. So I thought, I don't know what the connection is. I just thought that was kind of, I don't know, interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. We'll have to talk about the GATE program particularly. I don't think I was through that program. I have no reason to believe that, but I have encountered people who have been through that, and so we can talk about that another time. But I have some
Yeah.
questions about Mall World and
Okay.
or the backroom world and this phenomena. So many people, it sounds like hundreds, maybe thousands of people have been visiting this in their dreams. And just like you said, there are a lot of forums and posts on Reddit about Mallworld. And I was reading some of them and possibly, yes, on some other forums. Um, some people say there may be multiple mall worlds, just like you said. There may be like school worlds. Some are things that have like many people visit. Like you said,
Mhm.
sometimes people dream of doing tests in there. And so, have you tried lucid dreaming in Mall World, or is that a lucid thing, or do you just sort of walk through it?
Well, for me, when I started dreaming about it for years, the recurring dream, and some of these places connect for me. Like in the hotel, there's these elevators, and the door spins, at least, and it's like a spinning elevator, and it can go to the hospital, the airport, it can go to the food court in the mall, and it can go to different places. So for me, about, I don't know, years after I started dreaming about it, I would say the last few years, I would wake up, like maybe I was at the beach house or something with the big wave coming up, and I would wake up, and I used to call these my little soap opera stories, and I would say I just wouldn't, so I could wake up and but go get a drink of water, and then I'll lay back down and try to go back to where I left off at the beach house, and that works about 80% of the time. So I don't know, not always, but I would say at least 75 to 80% of the time, I can go back to where I was in the dream.
Hmm,
And if I want to get out, sometimes I'll just look for myself sleeping on my bed to wake myself up.
that's an interesting device. So when you're in this world, you're actually like really in it, and you have to try to get out. Um, does it feel
And
like
some people try to get out.
yeah, does it feel like someone's keeping you there, or you just sort of pop in there and
I
you
haven't had that
you don't?
experience.
Okay. Um, some people have reported seeing people like receptionists or employees in different parts of Mall
Mhm.
World. Have you experienced those? Have you interacted with them?
Uh, you don't really interact with them too much. Like this probably is the definition of like NPCs, I would say. But from my experience, and I know in the school in the cafeteria, they look at you kind of dumb, like the lunch ladies, and you can't ever get food for some reason. Um, I do see some people in the cafeteria. I'll see people in the airport occasionally. As far as the mall, I don't really actually see that many people in the mall except for certain places, I would say. And where else? The hotel. I do see people in the hotel. That I have seen. They're in the rooms, and the rooms are a mess. So I've seen people in the apartments, and I've seen them. Where else? Not in the mansion. Probably the beach market, definitely in the dock area, and the beach is always crowded. When I go to the beach, it's crowded, and I'm digging in the sand. There's all kinds of stuff buried under there, mostly like dollar store toys and stuff like that. But that's always crowded. It's like wall to wall people, and you have to like kind of maneuver your way around them. So that's usually what I see the most.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. One is you mentioned NPCs. For those viewers who may not know, what is an NPC and what does that look like?
Well, I would say for the way I'm referencing it to Mall World, I would say non-player characters like the same you would see in a video game. They all have like the one line. They have certain movements. They do very limited things. Like there's not a very in-depth exchange with them or any kind of experience communicating with them. But as far as the woo woo stuff, which I'm woohoo for the woo woo, and Dolores Cannon and I believe Neely or something, but they did the backdrop people, and that was supposed to be more or less like people that just showed up like holograms, like at a crowded concert or a crowded airport, and then they would just disappear. Um, as far as like calling people NPCs, I'm not really sure too much about that dynamic. I think it was Nostradamus, wasn't it? Nostradamus that said, there are those who can see, those who can see when shown and those who cannot see. So
Hmm.
I always think of that.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. Yeah, on NPCs, I just want to say that, yeah, I understand why some people, especially more of the Starseed, the Awakened, Psychic, people who have already done a lot of their inner work and awakenings do kind of like perceive others as kind of like non-player characters because they're not quite like awake and like kind of playing and creating outside of the matrix or in a larger reality. But I also years ago was taught not to like or to be very careful about otherizing people.
Mm-hmm. Labeling
And
them.
yeah, labeling them. But then there's been also times that I've been an NPC, definitely in my
Right?
childhood and a lot of my life, even though I was already in my childhood very sensitive, somewhat psychic, and I just wasn't educated and like quite aware of what that was. Um,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, there are probably many NPCs, I would imagine, actually, or many other
Mhm.
people that we would call NPCs, or that some people would, who actually just don't even know or haven't been told what else is out there. Um,
Right. Well, that's why, they say you forgive them for they know not what they do, Lord, because they're blind and they cannot see. And even in some of the original texts, if you look up the Christian apologetics, they do say like it does say like it's about people who understand what they're doing, like fully understand, and then they're doing intent behind their actions. But even a lot of adults who don't have that self awareness, they haven't expanded consciousness or reached that point in their spiritual process. Anybody can justify anything. So it's not their NPCs. Maybe they're just not enlightened or whatever it is. They are where they need to be right now. But you can't always think it's against you or it's an attack against you. You know what I mean? So that's why
mhm.
it says forgiveness. It's to release these chains.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Um, so let's talk more about Mallworld. So when some
Mhm.
people visit Mallworld, it's just so tangible and so consistent that you can map it out. Um,
Yeah. I was hoping that if I did this, maybe it could help other people, maybe spark something in their memory too.
yeah. Um, what do you think, like on an archetypal or larger scale, Mallworld is, and what does that actually mean for us?
Well, currently I'm kind of on the fence between it. I feel like it's either a timeline, an alternate timeline in a different reality that ended, which, that's still like something I'm trying to like wrap my brain around, but that is either that I'm feeling, or it's something that is trying to help us remember or to keep us on track. Maybe like this is this because there's always like a tornado, a earthquake, and a tsunami, and it's very catastrophic, like world-ending catastrophic, because it's all happening at once, which could be like some kind of natural disasters. And there's fires. So I wonder if it's like a reminder of to fit to what we need to avoid as humanity and what's on the line and why we need to, cut the crap and come back together and be a team. We don't have to always agree or even like hanging out with one another all the time. But that doesn't mean that we can't love one another on a deeper level, because like and love aren't the same. And we can work together, you know? And that's so I don't know if it's a timeline that ended or if it's something that is a reminder of why we need to, as a people, come back together and be that family.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about this in another episode, especially if you keep dreaming of Mallworld, or it sounds
Mm-hmm.
like possibly for you it may have ended. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean for everyone. Maybe some people still are visiting it. And if so, maybe it's still a like
Mm-hmm.
a place in the astral, or my thoughts are possibly it could be a type of tulpa
That could be it.
world, that's like because so many people are so deeply like just enmeshed, um, and
Yeah,
busy, kept occupied by the industrial, systematic world and
the
these
rat
places,
race.
these departments that they work in, that this tangible world is not all that there is, of course, and everything quantum science and shamanism is, and all other traditions have proved that. But so if our minds are so so potent at creating, and also our hearts and emotions are so tangible at, um, creating with electromagnetic energy and creating our own personal realities here, then it would make total sense that maybe this mall world is actually, a copy, like an actual copy that, mass collective consciousness may have created, and maybe the vacancy, the absence of people in it, may even represent sort of how much people are checked out or don't actually want to spend time there, like
Yeah.
when they're dreaming or in their life, and you just don't see them because they're not present.
Well, I wonder how much of our own subconscious kind of bleeds through into this stuff too, and into these dreams, because I've heard other people say that they'll go back to their old childhood home or their old childhood yard, or there's something that is similar to their own life, and I have that in mind as well. I'll go back to my old childhood yard into this red shed, and then I'll end up in this flea market. So I wonder how much is also our subconscious bleeding through in this, or maybe just our lived experience. I don't know if subconscious is the right way, because that's what we would be doing or dreaming, right?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's very possible, I think. Um, have you seen other people you know in Mall World, or seen the same people repeatedly?
Mm-hmm. Especially at the beach house. Even the person I'm dating, he's dating somebody else in the beach house, but I'm like not jealous or upset about it. But I
Hmm.
do see a lot of the same people in the beach house, in the slumber party house too, and in the pizza little place with the back kitchen that has this little secret doorway. So I do see the same people in those scenarios. It's usually like the places I like to go all the time. If I go to the theater, it's like the auditorium, like everybody's in there. Everybody. It reminds me of like the assemblies when you're in grade school, but you get anxious because everyone's like yelling and throwing paper airplanes. And it's just chaotic. Same thing with the gym and all the bleachers. So those, but it's like not any specific faces, but it's always the crowd, you know?
Maybe my hypothesis is true because those places where people are hanging out actually sound like kind of fun places. The beach house and the slumber party room, the slumber party house. I
Yeah.
mean, who
Some
doesn't
places
like
are fun,
those?
right?
Yeah,
Well, the girls at the summer party aren't very nice.
yeah.
They're not very nice to you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not very fun. And there are some creepy places, like in the mansion. There's in the kitchen, if you look up, the ceiling is caved in. And there's like all these toys coming out with like insulin too and all that foam coming out. And you see like these huge eyes. That's all you see. So there are some things that are like a little creepy and eerie, but I've always, most of my life, I've experienced strange and bizarre and paranormal phenomenon. So I just ignore it. Like, so I'm used to it. So I guess it doesn't bother me as much. I'm like, I'll just go to the place like that I like to go to and hang out. But so I know it does. I can see how it could freak people out and how it is eerie. I guess I'm just kind of used to the strange and wonderful. So I don't scare as easily, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting. You said that you have taken tests in like the school.
Mhm.
Have you thought to try to do well on the tests, or have you thought to like try to flunk the tests?
I don't ever remember the test, to be honest with you. It's just a piece of paper on the desk, but it's
Hmm.
always like one or two people. And sometimes there's like someone blowing bubbles. Sometimes I'm trying to do telekinesis with something and make something float. But most of the time, I'm trying to sneak out and like go to the back stairwell to get out of there. Like I'm always trying to like get out of the school.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? So interesting. Can I ask if your children have visited Mall World or talked about it?
No, no, my daughter's really young. She hasn't talked about that too much, but my niece, she had heard about it just from it trending, but she hadn't dreamt about it either. So none of the kids in my family from what I could tell so far. And I asked my other family members, like I've seen family members of mine there too sometimes, and they don't really dream of it either. Just a few friends who have.
Okay. Would you say it's more the adult crowd, adult age groups that dream of Mall World?
That I mean, just that I've seen, but I don't know. I mean, there could be younger generations that have. I just nothing that I know of personally. It's weird.
Interesting.
Well, I've heard people asking if gate and like I guess Rh negative blood is connected. So I guess it's like everyone's trying to see if all these things are connected. All the different groups you have with star seeds, the Rh negative blood, the gate kids, mole world, things of that nature. I guess everyone's trying to see if it connects, or maybe it's just me. I definitely am.
Interesting. How has this sort of affected your life?
Well, it's definitely hit the top on the top charts of strange, which is saying a lot for me because I have really good pattern recognition too. So I just can't really find a good explanation of why everyone's having these same reoccurring dreams to the details that they are, even down to the
Hmm.
color schemes and everything like that. That is just it's not coincidence. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
twice is coincidence, three times the pattern. That's but I can't figure it out, because even if doesn't matter how intuitive or psychic you are, a lot of times if you're involved, it can be a lot harder to see into like your own things that you're so close to. I could definitely put myself in denial so if I wanted to, but it does sometimes make it harder if you don't know how to step back and look at it objectively, I guess, or as an outsider looking in. But I'm still
Um,
digging into it. I'm going to be researching. I'm not going to stop investigating.
yeah.
I'm relentless when I get my mind to it.
I've heard of like through lucid dreaming studies, I've heard that there is such a thing as shared dreams, shared lucid dreams, where two or more people, I think up to five people in some accounts, but
Wow.
where multiple people literally have the same dream. Some of them may actually become fully lucid in it, but they like enter in the same dream space.
Yeah.
Um, and so this is, I think, pretty for the people who try to do this or do this at will. It's for the more advanced lucid dreamers, but yeah,
Oh,
some people have
larger
like
scale.
yeah, some people have shared lucid dreams and then like actually like interact or whatever happens, and then they talk about it the next day or sometime later and
Hmm.
both remember it. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm curious just if this is ever a shared lucid dream phenomena, or if it is more like just a sort of a solitary thing that people visit on their own and don't actually have any lucidity in.
Yeah. It's I've heard that it could be subliminal messaging. I heard that it could be the astral, I guess, which I imagine, it's just when I think of the astral, I'll think of like field or the void, the abyss or whatever, or if you see the ley lines around everywhere. But with this, I don't know. So it because I've only been on it with 2 months, so I have to like dig into it still. But as of right now, I'm just talking to other people about it, asking them. I'm sharing my pictures and my videos of it to see if it sparks anything. It's just very curious, but I guess it could be a shared dream. I believe that, yeah. I'm sure that can absolutely happen. I've seen enough stuff in my own life to never say never. Anything is possible.
Yeah, yeah, literally anything is possible. I've seen and heard while I'm awake, experienced all kinds of things while I'm awake, as well as in my dreams. I've seen some
Mhm.
of the bases on Mars. in my dreams. Yeah, I visit all kinds of people. Sometimes my star family, alien beings visit me in dreams. Sometimes they're disguised, sometimes with a sense of humor. I had a dream recently where an old high school teacher asked me a question. Really curious to see if I've tried something, like paid acting, but then I said that it hadn't in the dream, but it stirred something in me, a curiosity. Um, yeah, sometimes, especially when you're doing like light work and meditation, such as I have in my God's Full embodiment training lately, dreams have just become different and they're much more animated and like speak to me. And so, yeah, I'm just fascinated with dreams and such unique dream experiences.
Well, I know I've had some crazy dreams. Like
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I remember this dream. When I was a kid, I was dreamt that I was on my family room couch, and in the closet there was like a picnic basket or something above where my mom would sew and her crochet stuff, and a fishing hook came out and hooked me and brought me to the basket. But then I ended up on another planet, and it would look like Alice in Wonderland almost, but the beings, or the characters that were there, they looked like shapes, like a triangle head, kind of like a two-dimensional kind of shape thing. I said that
Hmm.
correctly. But then in high school I started, or around 17ish, yeah, I started having dreams that told me things with dates, names, times, and people, my friends would joke like, don't let me have a dream about you. And then a friend of mine at the time had a dream that I had ran to her in a bathroom in her dream and said, hey, so and so had passed away. And then when she woke up from the dream, 20 minutes later, someone called and told her that person had passed away. And she came and told me about it. But I didn't dream it. She dreamt of me. So I'm not sure if that's related or not. It might just be one of those weird things. But then after that, I would always dream a lot. I dreamt all the time. I used to sit up in my sleep and do weird things in my sleep, like sleepwalk, or I sit up and just like I'm texting or something. And
Hmm.
but yeah, and then Mallworld. That's always been a reoccurring, but I call it my little soap opera stories because I would like to go to those. I knew what to expect. I knew who I was hanging out with. So, and I would just go to like 5 to 7 places there. I was never. I mean, there are some eerie things there, but I've never really been like terrified. I would say the worst one is just at the lagoon by the cave, where like there's this fight that ensues between people and whatever lives underneath the cave, and they start fighting.
What kind of thing or whatever is under the cave?
Well, I only catch a glimpse of it, but it looks like it's pale white. It kind of looks like actually, if you have you ever seen that movie, The Time Traveler? If you remember at the end where the humans that went underground and what they looked like, how they're all white with the glowing eyes and everything at the end of that movie,
Hmm.
and it kind of looks something like that in an essence. And but you only catch them like running by really quick because I'm looking down, everyone's underneath this cave, like the cave floor, like a panel opens, and then they're like fighting. But then after that, it doesn't go any further after that.
Fascinating. How many times have you been to that cave? That sounds very interesting.
Like 3 times. It's in the mountains with a lagoon around it, and I've been there 3 times, and twice. Once I was just there. It just took off where they hit the button in that floor panel. But the other 2 times, I'm on this like fleet of ships. Like it's multiple ships, and it's like a lot of us are going, and I'm trying to get off that ship. Actually, like I'm trying to get like this weird little butterfly parachute thing to like jet me off the thing so I can escape before we get there. But that's the only few times that I've been there. And a couple other people I've read their comments of they describe the same thing where they're trying to help the people who are fighting down there, but they can't help them, but they're just watching. So I thought that
Interesting.
was
Yeah, that's very credible. Not only that you've been there so many times, but that other people do describe exactly the same place. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what makes the small world phenomena so credible.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
just
the
not
mansion
just
too.
yeah. Other people talk about the
Hmm.
mansion the same way.
Yeah, well, the other day someone was asking me about this area, and I drew it out for them. And I'm like, oh yeah, because it's one part I hadn't drawn yet, and I drew it out for them and sent it to them. And they're like, yeah, that does look a lot like it. So yeah, in the mansion, I've seen people talk about how they'll go in the bedroom and they'll have a bunch of garbage bags laying around with boxes and suitcases and drawers of clothes, like a storage room, which I rummage through for some reason. I'm always like looking to take something I get,
Hmm.
like free stuff, you know. And
Hmm.
I've also heard people talk about the same thing I drew for that guy, where they go into this kitchen and it has this huge window with a sink underneath it that has a big long table, wooden table under another window with a table in the middle, and then the back door leads like a tree house. And then, but that's when you look up at the roof and you can see it's caving in with the toys, the styrofoam, and everything. And then there's this other area with all this everyone this old style antique looking wooden furniture, and it's crowded but all lined up in a organized clutter way, you would say. And yeah, and the newest one I wrote too is the one where part of the mansion where I climb up into like this big round like plastic tube thing and hide. So I haven't had anyone talk about that, so I am curious. But the water park, the lazy river, the blue roller coaster at the amusement park, the creepy hallway, the hospital hallway, the movie theater, the back room, the back apartment, the warehouse with all the food and the storage, the plant warehouse, things. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's so much. It's like it just cannot be a coincidence, you know?
Hmm. Fascinating. Yeah, especially the people. I'd like to talk about the beach house a little bit more. What does the
Mm-hmm.
beach house look like? And it sounds like it's right pretty much on the beach. And how would you describe the beach house?
So with the beach house on the outside, it's like a back deck, you know, and with we go up some stairs in the back deck, and it has the huge back doors. It's all like big, big glass windows, and you always see this huge tsunami wave coming up really too close to the windows, where you're like, whoa, that's getting a little close. It's kind of unnerving. Sometimes there's like a big square pool down there at the beach, or sometimes there's this bouncy house. And if you go in it, there is like the kitchen area to like, you know, and then there's a living room that looks real messy, like college kids live there. And I mean, it looks like just a regular old dingy house. I mean, my color schemes are kind of bright because I wanted to help it people see the details on camera, but most of it is dark, dreary, drab, different colors of shades, black and stuff, black and white and gray, and with the 80s retro vibe to it for the most part. But the beach house is the one I go to. I usually am sitting on the back deck too. Sometimes if the wave's not coming up, you can sit on the back deck and have a drink, you know, next to this big tree. But upstairs too, which I haven't drawn, but people are always hanging out up there, or they're hanging out in the living room. Usually I'm just rummaging through things for some reason.
Okay, it's very interesting. I don't think I've been to that beach house in my dreams, but there was a vivid dream I had a while back about visiting a beach house, or somebody else's beach house.
Uh-huh.
They weren't
I think
home
there's
at
more
the
than
time.
one.
Okay. Yeah, the beach house I went to, it was like one of those beaches where there's uh like a row of beach houses next to each other, um overlooking a beach or pretty close to a beach.
Are they pretty close to dock too? Like a dock, maybe,
Maybe,
or a boardwalk?
maybe.
Yeah,
They were very modern built, modern fixed up beach houses though. But yeah, of course,
yeah.
there was a living room with are called big wide windows. I feel like I went into the house, but then it was like I wasn't welcome there, but the owner wasn't there. And so I was yeah, I was trying to like get into the beach houses. I don't remember why in the dream, but it
Were
was
they kind of fancy?
yeah, they were kind of fancy and modern
And
beach
they went
houses.
upstairs. Oh, they had an upstairs too.
Yeah,
And then like in the kitchen, you could actually see like a kind of like a cutout window with a bar part right there between the where the kitchen starts and the hallway and the living room area. when you walk in.
Some of them, maybe.
Yeah,
I
and they're
remember
like kind of
two of
like
them.
I don't that just sparked something. I remember that. I think I've been trying to get back to those. I remember like I went to some really nice ones and I'm like, how do I get back to those? Like
Mm,
they were really pretty and fancy. One was like very different colors of pink and sandy colors, like pastel pinks and tans and sandy colors like that. It was pretty.
interesting. I remember one I visited. The first one was mostly like black, sort of sheer modern black features with some gray and clear windows. Then
Like
the
lots of windows, huh?
yeah, there was a good bit of windows, like on the back side near the street, and then of course windows facing the beach. And then next to it was another house that was, I recall, sort of reddish colors, like
Hmm.
burgundy and medium red, maybe some, I feel like beige on the outside, but
Yeah,
yeah, they were slightly different, but very modern features, modern
yeah.
amenities.
I wonder if it's the same place I'm thinking about. I forgot all about that.
Maybe,
It
but
was like a luxury. It was like more
yeah,
upscale.
yeah, modern luxury homes right
Yeah.
along the beach. But I remember in the dream there was nobody home in the beach houses.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I visited the beach house place or part of it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, but that's good to interesting to learn about.
Yeah, I do remember that. I would have to start like I would have to really think about it to remember it, but even with in quantum physics with string theory, I'm pretty sure like they're looking to show the evidence, but they are saying that we have a multiverse, just like the movies, like
Hmm.
multiple alternative, kind of like Rick and Morty, I would say. And so I don't know if you ever saw that episode of Rick and Morty, Die Hard, when Morty was like trapped in a simulation in a video game, and every character was him,
Hmm.
every the whole thing. But yeah, so I always wondered like, so maybe can consciousness like jump around like an IP address or something? And like, what if in our dreams or even in certain practices or things you can do, is there a way to kind of connect with that other version or expression of you in a different alternate timeline? And can you see into it, like peek into it for a moment, you know?
Yeah, I think something like that type of practice definitely requires practice. Like I've noticed that with or without, for example, lion's mane and nootropics, I can still like enhance my dream memory
Mm-hmm.
gradually by just consistent daily dream journaling when I wake up.
Yeah, paying
You-
attention to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everyone can do this too. It's about building neural
Mhm.
synapses in the brain about dreaming. And even if you think that you don't have dreams or like you wake up and you just don't remember what you're dreaming, um, just write a word, a color, a feeling about
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Or yeah, and then do that every morning and gradually you'll start writing longer and longer phrases, sentences, paragraphs, pages, and stories. And I've
Yeah.
noticed that whenever I do this consistently, especially after having done this once, especially assisted by lion's mane and nootropics in the past, I was able to
Mhm.
rebuild my dream memory to remember what felt like sometimes hours of long, just story dream
Yeah.
experiences. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, very, very tangible and real experiences too. Your dreams start to not only you remember them, but the quality and vividness, um, solid material feeling of your dreams
Yeah.
becomes much more enhanced. So I'm still getting to the point of mastering that, and then sometimes I can. It kind of depends on. I've noticed when I do like intensive energy healing and my more spiritual
Mm-hmm.
and mental and emotional balance. Sometimes I can do lucid dreaming, not so much at will yet, but when I do have lucid
Yeah.
dreams, I just shift into it. Quite often, my lucid dreams involve flying. I really enjoy flying in dreams.
Yeah. There's places in Mallworld for that too. Like one of the neighborhoods I go to. It's weird. Like you get a leash. I get a leash or something and it helps me. And sometimes I just practice floating. Like I'm
Hmm.
holding an invisible ball.
Hmm.
I love those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I've discovered that my flying abilities in dreams um, requires like akin to how Iron Man uses like hands and feet with those thrusters on them to fly
Yeah.
and levitate.
Yeah.
Um, it it's not with a suit, but it's kind of like that. I can like propel. It feels like pushing energy out of my hands and feet and just like
Yeah.
lift up. Um,
Mhm.
there's what's this one dream too, remember, where I just sort of levitated off the ground of 2 or 3 feet, and then I was like sitting on my legs parallel to the ground and just like was floating through a hallway, flying through a hallway with
Yeah.
my legs out. But yeah, usually it requires sort of thrusters and practicing that stability. But
Yeah.
then there's been some dreams where I've been flying and like lifting up and levitating, sometimes in a room with people. And I
Mhm.
actually thought that I was fully awake, like knock on wood, pinch myself awake. It was so
Like in
incredible.
your dream, you felt like you were awake.
Yeah. And then I think it became like
Hmm.
semi-lucid, but I just felt like I was so awake in the dream that I didn't quite think it was a lucid dream, so it was just that,
It
but
was like somewhere between daydreaming and dreaming.
something like that. Yeah, just a quality of
I don't know.
a dreaming, but I
Yeah.
felt fully like it was so solid that I believed I was awake.
Hmm.
But
I
yeah, it
have
was
had weird dreams.
awesome to
Yeah.
stay in the air when I felt like I was awake.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in the actual solid material world, I have not been able to levitate yet, but I want to.
It seems hard. That seems like it's hard to learn. I feel like that might be hard to learn. I don't know. I've had
Hmm.
crazy dreams. A friend of mine, she passed away, and right before she did, we had a falling out, and I had dreams about her where, and this was one of those weird mall world kind of feeling dreams too, where I would just chase her around. Everybody else in the dream, like all her friends who we're hanging out with, could see and talk to me, but it was like she couldn't see me or hear me. Like I was a ghost, and I was like, don't you see me? Don't Are you mad at me? I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Like, so I've had a lot of those kind of dreams too.
Hmm.
And dreams are they're different. But Mall World, I don't know what that is yet, but I'm gonna look into it.
Well, thank you,
Mhm.
Amanda, for joining me and having this lovely tea time about Mallworld.
Thank you
And
for having me.
yeah, this is not just about us. I want to remind everyone, it's really a collective human phenomena, it seems.
Phenomenon.
Yeah, phenomenon.
Hmm.